Describing legal and ethical considerations related to identifying ASD, legal and ethical considerations should be taken with all students with disabilities. When discussing students with ASD, however, they should be provided free and appropriate public education, which is we also call FAPE. This means that students that qualify for special education services under the eligibility category of autism should, as other students with disabilities, have an IEP developed that contains specially designed instruction that is tailored to meet their individual needs. In the classroom, the students with ASD should have strategies taught that are based on evidence-based practices. It is also the responsibility of the educator to ensure that the goals that are developed are measurable. In the Andrew versus Douglas County School District, it was appealed by the parents and sent to the Supreme Court because there was no effective way of measuring how much progress the student had made because the goals were not 100% measurable. When identifying placements for a student with ASD, there are varying levels of service that they can receive. There are many students with ASD that can access the regular education curriculum with no supports, meaning no supplementary aids or services. There are some that may need some supplementary aids and services. Also, there are some students with severe ASD that may need a self-contained classroom to receive their education. With this being said, it is the responsibility of the team, including the teacher, the parent, the regular education teacher, and an LEA and any other members that may provide services to the student, to discuss and determine what best meets the needs of the student. This should be a give and take. Parents should be fully involved in this process. They know their student better. The team should discuss the least restrictive environment or what setting the student needs to be in to make the best progress. Autism is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects how a person communicates, interacts socially, and processes sensory information. Intellectual disabilities, on the other hand, involves limitations in intellectual functioning and daily living skills such as problem solving, reasoning, and self-care. In the article, Neurodiversity and the Benefits of Autism, the characteristics or features of ASD that intrigued me were the twice exceptional. This term means that a student or adults that are intellectually gifted also have a learning developmental challenge. It is important to understand both features of the individual. One of the theories that I learned about was the imprinted brain theory. This states that a parental gene will cause a child to have a larger brain, and a maternal gene will express a smaller brain. The code of ethics that all educators have promised to follow and states that educators must maintain a high level of professional competence and integrity and exercising professional judgment to benefit individuals with exceptionalities and their families. When dealing with students with ASD, it's important to follow this particular code. This requires that we as educators spend time evaluating the situation and data about a certain student in order to make sound professional judgment call that can affect the outcome of a student's future. This decision, made based on an educator's knowledge of ASD, in this case, would require that an educator has researched or completed courses that allow for them to understand ASD in a light that would allow for them to make these decisions. While working with students with ASD, I think it's important to keep in mind that this disability is not a one-size-fits-all. Each student with ASD is unique, and I agree with the neurodiversity article that we need to embrace the unique differences that each student with ASD holds. Within the educational setting, I feel it would be extremely important to advocate to regular education teachers and students on how unique and special each person with ASD is. There are many positives that they hold that we should be emphasizing on. In the classroom, it is necessary to find the best evidence-based practices that fit the unique needs of each individual student. Advocating for a student to a regular education teacher needs to contain information to back what you're saying. It is my experience that just telling a teacher that we have to do something because the IEP or evaluation says we do does not work. They need details explained to them. An example would be if I had a student with ASD that struggles with having a difficult time in one particular classroom due to some social situations where kids are making him feel like he doesn't belong. The teacher may want to use some more positive reinforcement strategies that will assist with boosting self-esteem and self-confidence. This is not telling the teacher how to teach the class, but giving additional strategies that assist with providing FAPE to all students. It is also important to remind all teachers what the laws in each state regarding students with ASD require. They are able to be included in the regular education setting based on the least restrictive environment for that individual student. In addition, teachers may need the reminder that the special education teacher is there to assist as needed to ensure that individual IEPs are being followed and FAPE is being provided. When discussing legal and ethical responsibilities, I think that what I've learned the most is that LRE does not always have to be in the regular education setting. In our building, we teach very little replacement courses in the special ed classroom. The students are in the regular education setting, typically in co-taught classes. We don't have many parents in the building that push this, so we don't really feel that we need to do anything different. So I do feel that this is something that we need to expand upon in our building to give kids what they need.